Welcome to Kitty Goes Down the Rabbit Hole, where I discuss all the random things that I come across in my travels on the interwebs. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how I got into K-pop, which was a journey. Strap in. It all started with a Facebook ad for a webtoon called Lore Olympus. Yeah, Lore Olympus, K-pop, exactly the same, right? So anyway, I was really intrigued by the concept and the art and everything, so I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. So I binged through that, got caught up. It's fantastic, by the way. Highly recommend. I decided to branch out and look at some different stories. And there was this webtoon called True Beauty. Through that story, there are some characters who happen to be K-pop idol trainees. So as I'm reading through, and one day I was just thinking, what is this K-pop? So I did what anybody in my position would do. I threw in the search bar in ye old YouTube and I just typed in K-pop. And a playlist pops up. Let's make this fun. I'm going to let you all guess what was the first song that popped up. I'm sure you could probably really easily guess the first group that popped up. But if you could throw in the comments below what you think the first song was. I'll give you a second. If you guess BTS Boy With Love, you're correct. You don't win anything, but you're correct. So my first impressions were the production quality is fantastic. Music was really fun. The style was really innovative, I found. I thought it was really interesting. So all these different elements that come together and make this like amazing package as a whole was just really interesting and really sucked me in. So that got me hooked. And then as I started getting deeper and deeper and deeper, I started getting more excited and more excited about it. As I got into starting to watch like some of the reality shows, the fun like V-Lives, the fan edits of their different, try not to laugh challenges and things like that. I started really getting into it and I was so excited about it. What I found surprising was when I started talking to friends about this. Now keep in mind, I had only really been getting into it since April of this year, so it's only been a few months. But when I was like a couple weeks into it, I started talking to other people about it. Like, oh, I just kind of discovered this thing that I'm really into. Let me talk about it. So I started talking to my friends about it. And one of them said, just be aware of how toxic the K-pop industry is. And that honestly took the wind out of my sails a little bit, because I really had just started getting into it. So I was like, well, I guess I can't really be ignorant of these things. If I'm going to enjoy something, a form of entertainment or a specific form of media, I should be aware of what goes into it. The good, the bad, the ugly. So I decided to look into that. And I did. And we have all that stuff here too. Extreme dieting, like strict beauty standards, colorism, cultural appropriation, just to name a few. But those didn't surprise me because we have that in our entertainment industry as well. I live in the U.S. currently. From Canada, but I live in the U.S. currently. So we have that kind of thing here on the Western Front. So to me, I wasn't shocked by that. And honestly, I think these conversations need to happen. I think they're very important conversations. And I by no means mean to like diminish and say that, oh, they're not that big of a deal because we deal with it too. I think it's a huge deal to people who live through these things. I think it's a huge deal to the people that are affected by it, honestly. And I think that there needs to be more conversations, but I think the conversations can be had without putting like our entertainment industry on a pedestal or make it seem like it's a K-pop only thing. Continuing down the rabbit hole of toxicity, let's talk about K-pop fans. Okay, so I gotta say, I don't see it. I think like the two fandoms that I get the most like accusations of being toxic are ARMYs and Blinks, and I don't see it. I don't see that, you know, any fandom ever is any more toxic, any more or less toxic than the next. Maybe because they're like larger numbers, you notice it more, but I don't really see it. And that could probably be because I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't see a lot of that kind of thing. But I interact a lot in like the YouTube comment sections. And I don't see too much of it. I mean, I see a few like trolly comments, but are those K-pop fans of other groups or are they internet trolls? Like, as far as toxicity goes, I don't really see it. I see a lot of comments. Like, I noticed this when I streamed Dynamite because I've reached that level. So I noticed some like comments of like people trying to be like, you know, Blinks were coming in and saying, oh, a Blink here, I'm so excited for you guys, congrats ARMYs. And then ARMY, like someone who is presumably ARMY was coming through and it's like, no, you're just, you know, we don't want you here or whatever. And then another ARMY would come in and say, nay, we don't want to perpetuate this kind of behavior. This is not okay. I've seen a few conversations like this happen, so I'm just paraphrasing, but it's like I see more of that than I see like negativity. Yeah, and I think some of that comes with like how protective people are of their idols, which makes sense. I mean, you have like a really strong parasocial relationship with idols, I find. They're constantly on lives. They're talking to their fans. They're always interacting with fans. They're always talking about their fans. Like when they go on TV shows or when they win awards, everything is for the fans and everything is just like constant fan service. And as a fan, I appreciate it. I think all that content is great. I enjoy watching that stuff. I love watching the reality shows and the variety shows and all of that kind of thing. I really love watching that stuff and their interviews and things like that. But I don't know. I think that kind of feeds into like how people will be so protective of their idol because obviously you feel like you know them. You feel like you have that like personal relationship with them because they're always interacting with people, with their fans. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense. And then you got sasaengs, which is, man, that is a career choice or a very expensive hobby. But can you imagine if sasaengs would put the time and energy and their skills to use in like the CIA or something? Can you imagine? I don't know. Like here when you like take a personality test and like you have a whole list of things like you can do. I always ended up like on those personality tests that I would be like a garbage man. Or like it was still a garbage man on the thing. I think it would probably be sanitation worker at this point. But I always got that as a result. I wonder if I would have gotten Sasang if Sasang would have been on the list, man. Anyway, back on track. I'm telling you, my brain goes down rabbit holes quite often, hence the channel and spell. I would say that for the most part, my whole interaction with K-pop has been extremely positive. Like I said, I'm a streaming person now. But anyway, so honestly, I've gotten so into it. I listen to it on all my daily runs every time I'm working out. I watch I think I've watched every unpopular opinion video, all these like try not to laugh challenges, things like that. I absolutely love it. There's something in there for everybody. Every music style like is incorporated in these things. You have like pop, you have rock. K-pop is such a big, all-encompassing thing that is just all different genres, and it's so interesting and fascinating to really get into it. And there really is something for everybody. And I frankly am having an absolute blast. Yeah, that's how I got into K-pop. What I'm going to do with the actual groups themselves, if you want to hear my opinion on specific K-pop groups, various webtoons, different media, different type forms of media like movies and TV shows and things like that. If you want to hear me talk about some random stuff as I continue to go down the rabbit hole, feel free to subscribe. I appreciate you hanging out with me for a little while, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!